Today's episode is brought to you in part by Shale Ridge Estate Winery and Cidery is located down a rambling country road in Thetford, Ontario. Farm to glass is how they define themselves. All of their wines and ciders are handcrafted on their property using fresh produce either grown by them or sourced from local farms. Join them for a tasting, try out their distinctive swing tables, and enjoy the gorgeous views. Open Thursday to Sunday from 12 to 5 p.m. Visit their website at shaleridgeestatewinery.com to book your reservation and find them on Instagram and Facebook. Their team looks forward to saying, "Welcome to Shale Ridge." This is the Chore Beer Chats podcast with your host, Laurel Eisbart. Well, let's just get into this one. Thank you for tuning in to the newest episode of the Chore Beer Chats podcast. I am sitting virtually with my girl Ashley Vail of Vail Family Farm, and that's in Salina, Kansas. Am I pronouncing that right?
No, you're not. Everybody pronounces it like Salinas, California. It's Salina.
Do you know what's funny? I'm going to give you like a Canadian actual metaphor for that exact same thing, because I lived in Toronto. You are probably familiar with Toronto. It's a big city in Canada, and there's a very, well-known street in downtown Toronto, and it's called Spadina. But when I first moved there, I was like, there's no way it's pronounced Spadina. That sounds like vagina. So I would call it Spadina. So I think that's a similar. Okay, so Salina.
And you know what? We're not even actually in Salina. We're in a smaller town outside of Salina, but nobody's familiar with it. So I roll with Salina.
That's amazing. That's usually my tactic for when I meet or whatever. Someone's like, "Where are you from?" and they're not from here. I start with like the next closest bigger city, and then if they don't know that one, I go to like the next London, Ontario, and then Toronto, because some people are like, "I don't know what a map is." But straight up, I actually don't know where Kansas is, because I'm just a little Canadian girl that doesn't know anything in my little igloo up here. Anyway, that was the first line of what I wanted to get through. That was fun. So Ashley, I know I'm just in my first season here, but I've already started some traditions with my recordings. And one of them is that I like to kind of start out with an origin story, if you will, of my relationship with the guest, because you would think, oh, we need an origin story of the guest and their background. And we will get to that. But I know a lot of people are probably like, how did this happen? And like, so, I didn't just pluck you out of a resume or an application to have you as a guest. Like, we have been, I feel like I started my Instagram, like, I don't know, 2.5, 3 years ago, maybe now. And I feel like I tried to get into this like homesteading farming community, and Vail Family Farm was there as well. And do you remember were you on there around the same time, or were you on there before me?
I actually started putting effort into it at the same time as you. We were like right on par with each other.
And I think you are winning the Instagram. If there was a race, you are fucking winning. I literally blinked and you suddenly had like 7 million followers.
I stay off TikTok because I have a problem. I mean, I will literally just not put it down. So I stay off of it. But I follow you on there, and I go and look on there, and you're the queen of TikTok. So same, bro. Same.
Okay. So we are both killing it on our own paths. I think we put a lot of, as a business, it is important to us to grow our following. So I know if you're just like, you're in high school and you want more followers, like to be popular, that's a different and more toxic. I mean, it's still toxic. My point of this is I do care about my following because it is my way to potentially make a living. It's to get my business out, blah, blah, blah. So it is important to me. And I do care about growth. So that is how I measure success a little bit, is just with like my growth. But do you know what else? Social media. I feel like you as a person and a business, you have flourished since we first connected. And thank God for social media, because you're in Kansas, right? Like when would we ever, I would never, no offense, but you would never, I would never. So mad props to Instagram, because I have been able to watch your journey blossom and take root and grow like your flowers.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, social media it's great to get your farm or your business in front of other people. However, it is not the be all end all. I would also say that just because somebody has 60,000 followers does not mean that they're making a bunch of money. I am figure one.
No, this is a good point. Okay, this is a good point, because a lot of times, I think a lot of times in general, people associate, I guess, popularity with success, or you associate success with money. And you know what, my girl, I think I'm with you there, because money, who dat? I don't got that. That's what I'm working on. That's why I am doing all the things that I'm doing, because your girl, your girl don't have money.
Um, I seriously couldn't agree more. Um, and everybody has to define success in their own way. And for me, that's not financial success is not that. It ain't it. Obviously, I want to have a healthy, sustainable business, but that is not the only part of why I do what I do.
What are you drinking, by the way?
A twisted tea gas station beer.
I used to crush those. I haven't done that in a while, but they are good. So you were just saying how that's not how you like necessarily measure success. So to you, how do you measure success? How do you feel accomplished? Because obviously you have come a long way from literally starting your farm. So to you, if it's not the money, if it's not the followers, what makes you feel like, okay, we're doing this?
So I have been a registered nurse for 13 years, and I've always felt accomplished. I've done a lot of things with my career. I have lots of letters behind my name, but there's really nothing like starting something from the very beginning. And like I just feel so good after I work outside all day when it's 90 degrees and I've taken these seeds that started as nothing, just these little tiny things, and like I get to watch it all bloom in July. And like that makes me feel successful. It makes me feel happy personally. And it sounds really cheesy and corny, I know, but it's true.
I love that. Side note. So, okay, let's dive in a little more to the Vail family farm origin story. Did you like when have you always lived at the farm you live at now, or like have you always had property in which you grew things, or is this the first time you've ever done anything like that?
I'd never grown a seed in my life until 3 years ago. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. My family has always lived on some property, and it felt really natural to me to move out to the country and start my own farm. But that was not our intention when we built this house. We actually built this house out here before we lived in town. So we've been out here 5 years.
Wow, that's so cool. That's hilarious that you've never grown a seed. So like, how did you learn? Did you just start jumping into it?
I was like knee deep in chickens, right? And I guess I just thought, like, flowers just appeared in the grocery store, and then I discovered that people flower farm on Instagram, and I was like, "What?" And then I was like, "I'm gonna do that." And I maybe it was a little bit of naivety, or some people probably thought I was really stupid and still do, but I just went crazy. I read every book there is, I took classes, and then I just started doing it.
I feel like the benchmark for I don't want to say success, but the benchmark for like knowing that, okay, you are probably doing the right thing personally is when people think you're stupid or people think you're crazy, because it's obviously something that's like, I mean, maybe I am a little stupid and crazy, granted, sure. But I think most people who start a business or do something different, most people are going to look at them and be like, you're crazy, you're stupid.
Yes, they do.
They
They
don't see
do.
it the same way, and sometimes it's warranted, and most times I think it's like this weird jealousy thing for some reason, even though Joe Blow literally has no desire to start a flower farm of any capacity, but still feels like, well, what the I could do that. That's stupid. So I feel like it's really hard because I know I have had to navigate through that myself. And that was just for getting cows. Like for me, and I'm sure for you, you're the same. It's like, well, what's so crazy about growing flowers? What's so crazy about getting cows? Like to me, like obviously it's a new learning curve and something I've never done and it's going to be hard, but like to me that's not a deal breaker. Like, great, I get it. I get to learn something new, you know? But some other people, they just like don't like to see other people succeed for some reason. They just like to like watch the world burn. Have you had much experience with that same thing?
I have had a lot of that, and actually more from, like, people closer to me than necessarily, like, people on the internet, and that's hard. That's really hard, but I think there's kind of 2 types of people, not saying there's not any in between, but there's people that look at something and go, "Ugh, I could never do that," or "She's faking it, she's not that good at what she's doing." And then there's people like us, I think, who look at somebody successful and are like, "Oh, if she can do it, like, why can't I?" And that's how I think of stuff. I don't th I mean, I'm not saying I never get jealous or have feelings of, like, insecurity or project my onto other people, but I really just look at it like, "Oh my god, I could totally do it."
And I think that is a big difference between or a big characteristic of most entrepreneurs, I think. And I think also like successful people, because it's having the ability to recognize that and to still be able to like stick with your plan and not let other people derail you. And it hurts me to hear that you say that you've experienced that with people closer to you, but I get that.
Hey, but you know what? They're all on board now. They don't have a choice.
They don't have a choice. I love that. But I do think also,
Stop talking about it and just do it.
yes, I felt like that was something that I encountered starting out as well. But hearing it from you and also like from other people, I have learned that it just is a common thing for some reason, that it's usually the people closer to you that give you a harder time, or like have a harder time supporting you or whatever. So that is something I have been working through myself. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, the way I get out of it is I just remember why I'm doing it and who I'm doing it for, and that's for my family. So not that I don't love outside of my family, but like, you know what I mean? Like those people don't pay my bills. They don't
Yes.
raise my children.
Yes.
So I focus on my core, and everything else can just be outside noise. And I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, and they can just keep talking it.
100%. Because no matter what you do, and you know this from Birdie, everybody's got something to say about what you're doing. I have this reel that I been like posting every year. It's like tradition. And it's all I'm talking about is how I carry a bucket downstairs to water my flowers when I'm growing them. It's got combined over 1 million views and just da 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 da. I mean, everybody, I mean, they've done everything but call me an idiot. They've called me an idiot. I mean, it's very much implied. And that's one thing I've learned, but I still do struggle with sometimes, is just not spending time on people that don't have anything nice to say.
Yeah. I was actually going to mention that video because I remember when you first posted it, and like, I feel like it's always on whatever platform, TikTok or Instagram. It's always like, more often than not, the videos that go viral are the ones that for whatever reason have something controversial in them, and not even always intentionally. Like in the comment section, someone found it so controversial that how dare you have the audacity to not run a garden hose down your stairs? And and then like more people are like, yeah, that dumbass. And then you're blasted into the stratosphere of the algorithm, and it's funny. But obviously when a video goes that viral and all the amount of comments you're getting in, as much as you can like try to separate yourself and know that like, oh, they're just dumb people, like you're a human being. And I'm speaking from my experience because yeah, I'm a human and it does hurt. So I've gotten way better at it. Like it takes a couple viral like bullying sessions for me to, reach another level of security, I feel, on the internet. But like when people are just attacking you, it's not cool.
Coincidentally, that bucket reel has gained me like 30,000 followers. And most of the people on there are really supportive. And I would say like, and I'm only speaking for Instagram, I don't with TikTok, man. That place is crazy. I don't think I could handle it because they just seem a little more unhinged.
Mm-hmm. Can confirm.
Most of it has been positive, and that's why I stick around. And I think at least like once a week, maybe even more than that, I get the best messages from people telling me how much I helped them. And I'm like, okay, I'll show up tomorrow.
Yeah, there are good things associated with the internet, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have met you.
I mean, it's true. There's the silver lining.
Exactly.
So yeah, that video, I feel like that probably boosted your account. You said you got a bunch of new followers. And I just want to rewind to like last summer, in which I had posted about that I had somehow gotten tickets to Jillian Harris Academy at the Farm Retreat. And this bitch messages me and she's like, I don't need like who is, I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember, but this is what my brain remembers, the vibe. She's just like, I don't understand. Like this person follows me, and I had all these Canadians being like, oh my God, Jillian Harris follows you. And I'm like, who is this? So I'm sure since then you have probably perused, I'm sure you're familiar with her now, but yeah, she's like a Canadian icon, bro. And you're like a American icon. So like,
yeah, not hardly, but I do follow Jillian Harris now. She's super sweet, but yeah, she like has liked a bunch of my stuff and shared it, which also sent me into the algorithm stratosphere several times. And all the Canadians went wild. I'm like, who's Jillian Harris?
That's so funny. But like, don't you think it's wild that, because she has a flower farm. So don't you think it's wild that she is looking to you or following you and like I'm sure getting inspiration from you, because we only follow people that we're really like wanting to consume. And I'm sure she's very picky about her follows because she doesn't follow me. So, so obviously she wants to consume your And don't you think it's crazy that like she's maybe getting inspiration from you? Because, okay, we were just talking about this outside of here a couple days ago about like, you know, kind of imposter syndrome, or like who would want to learn from me? I'm a beginner. Jillian Harris obviously in a way wanted to, right? Like it's so hard to put it's so hard to see our own value, I think. And that is also an insecurity of mine. Like that's a really hard thing for me to accept, like to accept the concept that I provide value, or I don't know. I still don't understand how I have followers on anything. You know what I mean? Is that not the purest form of validation that Jillian Harris?
It is. And I love that for me, but I'm also terrified. I think a lot of flower farmers who have been doing this for a long time follow me. And that puts a certain level of pressure and makes you kind of like rethink everything you're doing. And I've just have to let that go a little bit. And if I think too hard about what I want to share, I'll just never share anything. And so it is nice, also mildly terrifying. And I also don't want to feel validated by social media. You know, it's addicting. You get those little like dopamine hits, and it's like, oh, yes, like in serotonin, like people like me, they're following me. But ultimately, it doesn't matter that much. I love my following, by the way. I love all of you. Like, I have close relationships with a lot of these people, but yeah, it's a trip, man.
I feel like too, a lot of like what you're describing, your feelings, I feel like how you're like, oh, the pressure, because like other flower farmers who have been doing this forever are following me, and there's like the pressure. Girl, that's just your anxiety talking. Like what pressure? Your pressure, and I'm speaking on like, I'm putting myself in your shoes. The pressure is what? Like you're thinking, oh my God, they're looking at me. They're judging every move I make as a flower farmer, and I feel like an idiot. But like, they're there. I feel like they're either there to support you, or they're there to hate watch you. And the hate watch is usually from, or hate follow. And you know what? That's usually stemmed from jealousy. So you know what? That means you're doing something right.
I know. And I do try to remind myself that and tell myself that. And that's usually when I go run to you or somebody else. And I'm like, oh, why am I even doing any of this? I'm terrible.
But I will say, because I didn't mean to sound like I was just shutting you down. I'm shutting your anxiety down. Okay. Not you, just your anxiety. Your is valid, because when I say this to people, it's basically me giving the pep talks to people that I should be giving to myself.
But you should be giving yourself. I know.
Like I say great things. I have great advice. I don't take it.
I know. I tell people this all the time, especially people that are just starting, or just starting their farm, just starting their social media, whatever it is they're doing. And I will hype them up till the end of time. And then I'm like, why don't I do that to me? And most of the time I subscribe to that. But every once in a while, like the winter gets really hard for me. This brain's been in the like, I suck. What am I even doing? And then I go outside and work, and I remember why I'm doing it, and then I feel better.
And that's just like the perfect and the most simplest formula. And now a word from our sponsors. Today's episode is brought to you in part by Forest Creek Farmhouse, a family farm located in Ontario, Canada. You'll instantly connect with Ange, the owner. This fun-loving woman is a high school principal by day and wife and mom running a farm, just like me, the rest of the time. The farm is her passion, where as a second-gen woman in ag and master educator, she runs online and in-person workshops. Here she shares a lifetime of knowledge on growing beautiful flowers, raising poultry, sheep, and beekeeping. Her Instagram stories are the best for quick tips for growing all things beautiful and sharing the ups and downs of farm life. The Forest Creek Farmhouse website is the place to go for the most coveted flowers for your garden. Grab a coffee and shop her curated collection of David Austin garden roses, lush pink peonies, and cut flower seeds, with shipping across Canada so you can grow your own beautiful bouquets. In Ontario, be sure to check out her selection of family-friendly, rare breed chickens, geese, and honeybee colonies for farm pickup. You can find the link to the website and Instagram in our show notes. Forest Creek Farmhouse, helping you grow something beautiful. It seems like you have it figured out. Do you have, aside from that, like, I just want to kind of touch on that more, is obviously showing up on social media as a business. There is a pressure to keep putting your out there because you want to grow. You want people to buy your stuff. You want to keep fostering relationships. So do you think you have a good balance with how you show up on social media and your mental health / sanity?
Yeah, if I feel myself starting to just like create content to create content, I just won't. I just won't. I used to post a reel every single day. And now I do about 4 a week because that's what works for me. I also work a full-time job outside of here. So, I mean, and there's been times where I just don't. I almost always will pop in on a story. I put a lot of effort into all of my content, but what do you do?
Well, honestly, I feel like I'm talking to a mirror right now because I feel like we are very similar. And this is probably why we're bros, you know? Because same deal. If I feel like I'm at the point, my brain recognizes, oh, am I just putting something out just to put something out? Then I'm like, ugh, I need to change something, or I just like take a step back. It's just that stupid the algorithm with your brain. Nobody knows what it means. Nobody knows what the algorithm is. Okay. I don't care. All these people posting like, here's 10 tricks to boost. You have no idea what you're talking about. You have no idea. You can't possibly be like a social media coach. I'm sorry. If you're a social media, you probably can be a bit of a social media coach. There are certain things that can be taught. But understanding and beating the algorithm, you have no idea. Nobody knows. The algorithm doesn't even know. So it's like this really stupid, vicious cycle that we go through as creators or businesses to put stuff out, that it's like, oh, I have to do this to stay in the algorithm. I don't even know what that means anymore. So much like you, I have just learned what works for me, and it evolves all the time. And I think that's a big part of it. I think the willingness to adapt is actually, if I'm going to be like a social media coach right now myself, that I think is what the algorithm, that's how you can stay on the algorithm's good side, is like switching it up. Because if it's not, if one thing's not working, try something else. Like I personally have, in the new year, I don't really do resolutions because then I just like don't win them. See, everything's a race to me. And then I just like don't, it's just too much pressure. I don't need any more. So I'm always setting goals, but I told myself in the new year, I'm like, new year, new me. I'm going to start treating Instagram like I treat TikTok, because TikTok, yes, is completely unhinged. And I feel like part of the reason why I have grown my community on TikTok is A, absolute dumb luck. And B is I am very much myself on there, and like unfiltered, like non-curated, like literally I don't think about it before I say it. I just say it. So I feel like people respond positively to that. And so I used to like Instagram. I used to look at it like, oh, I just put like I love writing. So it'd be like a nice post about something.
Your post.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But I feel like I was taking it too seriously. And I think that was adding unnecessary pressure to my showing up on social media, that I was like, I can only post if it's like meaningful. So I adopted my TikTok mindset, and I just started just posting like trash. But people like it, kind of, I think.
I'm the same way. I think people like Instagram used to be this like really curated social media platform, and in some ways it still is. I mean, it depends on who you follow.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I don't follow anybody that's fake, and I can tell. And everybody else can too. I promise you.
Yes.
And we talked about this a little bit before. I am 100% myself on social media, and I think that's how you have to be. The only thing that's different on social media than that I do in real life is I say a lot. And that's it. I mean, I do censor myself in that way, but otherwise I am just me. I don't know how else to be. And that's how people resonate with that.
Yes. And I would agree. I think you do show up very authentically always. And again, I really do think this is why we linked up in the first place. I didn't start out like, I wouldn't even go on my stories. That's a whole other thing. I'm now just like wild, unhinged, crazy girl, whatever, don't care. But like, I wouldn't even put my face on. But yeah, that's a whole other thing. But I really do think it's freeing to just be unapologetically yourself and just to show up as who you are. And I absolutely agree that people can see that. Like I can always see instantly if someone is just like, "Oh, you are trying too hard to be something that you are not." And if that's working for you, that's great. But like, I don't wish to consume this because it's like hurting me to watch you like not be real. Like I don't need that. What's it called? The aura. I don't need that fucking aura in my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that's not the vibe. I think people can see that, man. Like I don't yeah. Yeah, you just be yourself, man.
Is it that hard?
Well, it is. It is because social media, especially Instagram, makes people act and do things that they would never really do. And there's a couple of times I've caught myself kind of being like that, and I'm like, whoa, oh, no, no, no. We got to stop right now.
Scale it back. I do think also it's like there is the pressure because speaking from experience before, like I was so scared. I didn't even want to show my face because I was like so worried about people seeing my face. I don't know. Like I was so embarrassed to show up for some reason when like I really doubt anyone gave a and actually they ended up liking it. But like it's so many insecurities that just like pile on top of each other that really I feel like my social media journey has been like therapy.
Yeah.
In a weird way. I really do think because girl, like Andy has said this to me, I don't know, recently or whenever the it was, that he's like, I actually feel like since you started your Instagram, you're like way better, like mental health space because I just feel like I talk it out so much. And I normally like, I'm just talking to my phone like half the time, actually 99% of the time, I talk to my phone as if I'm just like recording a diary entry. So it's like this session where, you know, I let it out and it makes me feel better. And then you have like someone does see it because it's the internet, Laurel, obviously. And then they comment and they're like, oh my God, I feel the same way. And you're like, wow, I'm not alone. Just more silver linings. You know what I mean?
I know. And that's a majority of the comments and the messages is people being like, oh my God, I love how relatable you are. I feel the same way. Like, this is so real life. And it's like, yeah, yeah, that's how it is. I I agree with Andy on that one.
Yeah. And again, like back to your point before of like not you don't want to have like you don't want to get stuck on the addiction of like getting validation from the internet, but like that's good validation. I think that's helpful for everyone because then it's not only like making you feel less alone, you are now notified that you have made someone feel less alone. So it's kind of more of like a motivation to keep going and keep being authentic, even when you don't really feel like it. Because in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, maybe someone else is feeling this way. And if I can have the courage to like just talk about it, maybe I can help them. I don't know.
Well, yeah, and a lot of people say that too. Like, this was a really helpful message. I've been thinking this, I just didn't say it out loud. And it's tough to balance that with like business and personal, but people like, oh my God, I went shopping in my town, Salina, the big city. It's not that big. And every person in every store knew me. And I was with my daughter, and they were like, oh my God, we love you so much. And they were like talking to my daughter. They're like, isn't your mom just so funny? And my daughter was like, no. But they were, because I bring them along for the ride. They know every animal, every flower. They've got it down.
See, that is the beautiful part of social media, I think. I think that's so great because just to feel like you're positively influencing someone's life in some way, even if they're just like looking at a flower that you posted, like whatever, like you are contributing to someone's positivity.
Most of them just laugh at Winnie.
Okay, Winnie. Yeah. So I should have worn it.
I got one.
Yes. So this is Winnie. This, I guess, like the mascot for Vail Family Farm, because like we don't need a chicken, we don't need a livestock guardian dog as the mascot. It's Winnie. What is she, a French bulldog?
Yes.
How old is Winnie?
She's 4.
She's 4. So she's going to be around for a while. Yeah, she is really funny. It's really funny to, yeah, just like you said, like I know your animals. It's just so funny to see Winnie just like running the household and doing like just being an absolute useless dog. Absolutely useless.
She is.
And then you have an actual like working dog. And I relate to that also because I have a useless lab that's just like just a dingleberry. And then I have my birdie. So we are so similar. It's great.
I know. Winnie is just such a chode sometimes. But she is valuable for I actually got her to like for my mental health. She has cost me so much money, dude. But I love her. Like I seriously could not live without that dog.
So worth it. Yeah. No, she's a treat. I get it. I get it. And then how long have you had Smoke now? Your livestock guardian dog?
19 months.
I feel like, man, it's crazy because I feel like you just got him. And what mix is he or what breed is he?
He is mostly Great Pyrenees, but he's also an 8th Anatolian Shepherd. Some people call him Kangles. It just depends on what part of the world you're in.
And that's the 2 breeds he's made of?
Mm-hmm. He's an 8th Anatolian.
Okay, so is Birdie. Like literally 1/8 Anatolian, and then whatever else the rest of the fraction is. 7/8?
Yeah, right? 7/8? Yeah, I didn't know that about Birdie. Why did I not know that?
Well, you know what? Genetics are just a darn thing, aren't they? Because I feel like in Smoke's case, his 1/8 is
Came
more
through.
powerful.
He has like the body of a Great Pyrenees, but his coloring.
And his tail is like curled up, right?
Oh yeah, just like this. And he's really athletic. Like he's not like a lazy lay around all the time. That Anatolian, he's a little spicy, but he's also still a puppy. I mean, because they are until they're 2. You know that.
Yeah. Will it ever end?
Yes, it will. And Smoke has killed a chicken. He did get a hold of one. So you are not alone.
Just one?
He's not as prolific as Birdie.
I've quite literally lost count.
Well, they say, 2 years for most, but sometimes 3. I wouldn't be surprised if it took him to year 3.
Yeah, Birdie's going to be a 3-year for sure. Maybe 4. Maybe never. She's so bad. Speaking of like characters on your farm, R.I.P. Bodacious.
Oh my God. I know. It's so sad.
I forget, when did he make his exit? And I forget how he made his exit. We don't have to get into that. He was a rooster and he was an asshole, right?
He was a like 2-pound silky rooster. Beautiful. I mean, the ladies loved this guy. He was gorgeous. A complete dick. Attacked everyone, including my 4-year-old nephew. But Bodacious left us last summer. And coincidentally, all of our hens have their feathers back. It's so weird. I'm not afraid to go out anymore. Well, I was never afraid of him. Let's get one thing clear here. But the next day on the farm, silence. No more crow offs between the other rooster. Everybody was just enjoying their life on the farm. He was the mascot before Winnie.
And it's funny how everything evolves, right? Like how and also how I know that. So like your content, like same with mine, like my content literally just follows the path of whatever the is going on? So for a long time, it was Ryan and Ryan, my geese. Like that was a crazy saga, and they are now gone. And I will tell you, it is very similar feeling as you're explaining when Bodacious left the next day. Peace on earth, so quiet. And they didn't die, but well, they may be dead now. I don't know. But anyway.
Nature works itself out. Bodacious, I mean, as much of a jerk he was, he fought to the death. Whatever it was that got him, there was the biggest pile of feathers left. And whatever it was, he fought it across the property. So he died a valiant death, and we can remember all of his bull. And you have Roger now, right?
Roger is still alive.
Roger.
Oh my God. Side note. Have you fired up an incubator yet, or do you plan on it?
I didn't hatch anything in the fall, which I normally do, and I haven't hatched anything yet. And the reason for that is, number one, I'm too busy. Number two, when we introduced teenage chickens to the flock, Smoke took about 6 months of a step back. So I'm going to be really cautious about how I do that, but we will get some more.
But I remember one time, something about like a garbage chick or something. Didn't we call it like the garbage chick? This was not written down. Like this literally is just coming to me. Like, didn't you throw out a chick like accidentally, everyone?
Listen, I can explain. It sounds bad, and it is. Okay. I put my chicks on paper towels the first couple of days because it's easier to clean up than pine shavings, and they don't really poop that much until 48 hours later. And I picked up the paper towels, man, and I kept hearing this chicken chirping, but it wasn't coming from the direction of the other chicks. He was in our trash can for an hour. My son will never let me live that down. He was like, "Welcome to Vail Family Farm, where we throw our chickens in the trash."
The chick was rescued from the trash, but yes, I just remember like garbage chicken or something, and that's really just stuck out to me. But back on the Roger thing is I had people on the internet because yes, Roger is also somewhat of a mascot. I have many mascots. And whilst Roger is still with us, he is one of the mascots. And I've had people be like, "Are you going to make more Roger babies?" And I was like, "No, nobody needs that." But I'm so tempted. So I think I am going to hatch. Probably going to wait till like March because I have too much going on right now, but I feel like I have to. Also, this will only work if my incubator works because I don't know how you roll, but once hatching season is done, I throw the incubator outside for the entire year. So like I haven't even cleaned it. I was so mad at it, and I was just so done with incubating and hatching that it went on my front porch, like under a patio thing. So it wasn't like directly rained on or anything, but it just went out there, and I only brought it in like a month ago. So I mean, if it works,
it's anybody's guess.
Yeah. So hang in, stay tuned. We'll see. But I feel like I may take eggs from the coop that Roger is in just for funsies, you know?
That's the thing about the silkies and what is he, a Turkin? Do you even know what he is?
I don't. I think so. Whatever. Is a Turkin the same thing as a naked neck? I don't know. He's hideous. He looks like a penis with feathers.
Yes, they are. And those specialty, like delicate little breeds, even with a livestock guardian, don't last long around here. The bantams, anything that's small and not fast, we haven't had good luck with. And so I've had my heart broken too many times by my favorite chickens that were little getting got. So
yeah, no, that's true. Somehow Roger has defied all odds. Like he is the first chicken I've ever had that like he will fly out of the coop, even though his wings are clipped. This mother will fly out of the coop. And at first I was worried. I'm like, oh my God, Roger's out. Like, I don't want Roger to get eaten. And he always goes back in. No one has ever flies back in. Like, I don't know all my chickens who have ever left are like, bye. So maybe he's got some street sense. But I feel in general that like naked necks are like a mistake. Like their breed was like probably should not have been bred. So should I continue his bloodline? Probably not.
Wait, do you mean like Winnie shouldn't exist?
Probably. If we're like drawing any parallels, she probably also should not exist, but she does. So we are celebrating her. And just like we're celebrating Roger, okay? But yeah, she's a freak as well, for sure. Like the face.
She's an alien.
I love that. Yeah, I wanted to cover, those were like the main characters that I needed to talk about. I want to bounce back to kind of wrap it up, but I have another quick cue. So you call yourself a flower farmer? Question mark? Yeah?
No, I do.
When did you feel confident in calling yourself that? And I'm not saying this out of a place of like, I'm saying this out of personal experience. And also I know like starting from scratch and then like the imposter syndrome and like the struggle to be like, am I a farmer? Can I call myself that? How did you have that issue? Or were you like, no, I'm a farmer. I don't give a
I thought about it for probably 2.5 seconds. And I used to say I was a wannabe flower farmer. And then I grew some flowers and I called myself a flower farmer.
There you go.
Almost immediately.
I love it.
I've seen people kind of take issue with that. Like, you're not really farming, but okay. Like, you telling me that I'm not doing that doesn't change the fact that I am doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And when does somebody become competent in their field? How do you know when somebody's an expert? How many flowers do they have to grow? How many seasons do I have to go through?
I love that. I love 2.5 seconds. You grew flowers, therefore you are a flower farmer. And that's I need to take that advice because, sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't, am I whatever? But like, yes, you're doing the damn thing. It doesn't matter how you're doing it. And it actually doesn't even matter if you're like bad at it. You're doing it, I feel, is. And also if like, that's how you identify, then that's what the you are. And I can't stand people who want to like on that and be like, you're not really a farmer. Like I'm a farmer if I say I'm a astronaut if I say I am. You know what I mean?
I really think that just again comes back to what we talked about is people and their insecurities, and it's really none of their business. And ultimately, if somebody doesn't like that, then I don't know what to tell you, man. Go somewhere else.
Go somewhere else. I'm fine. Jillian Harris follows me, so you can leave. There's the door. Okay? There's the door. And I can confirm, yes, this projection is coming from a place of jealousy because I literally met her, okay? And I still can't get a god follow. It's fine. It's fine.
Maybe she'll listen to this. Maybe she'll watch my stories.
Maybe this is why I had you on the show. This is just all part of my strategy. I want to do like a home decor, cow home decor collection with Jillian Harris. This is how I wanted to go about it. Okay, you heard it here first.
You will be successful in anything that you do.
Thank you so much. My final, just to wrap it up, I want to know, I feel like you've already given a ton of good advice but for anyone listening, because it's obviously very inspirational to hear that like you literally have never grown anything in your entire existence. And then you just started a flower farm and now Jillian Harris follows you. Do you know what I mean? So what would be your best advice for someone who wants to do what you're doing?
My best advice, I think, would be to keep your nose down. You're going to have to grind through some really hard things. Stop worrying about other people's farm. Worry about your own. And also, you're going to kill a lot of shit. I kill about 1,000 seedlings every season. Plant some more as insurance.
Yet you keep going. And I think, again, that's just another characteristic of successful entrepreneurship, I think, is that's how you weed out the ones who are going to be successful or not, because you have the character or the resolve to actually like keep going, trying again, where that could just take someone to their knees and they'd be like, I quit, which I go through like 19,000 times a year, but
You're gonna fail. You're gonna fail, and successful people, not just monetary success, but just successful people in general, are like, you know what, that sucks, but they get up and do it again.
And they probably fail again, but you just
Oh yeah, I've had lots of failures already, and it's only like what is it, February 6th?
I have no idea what the day is. I'm not gonna lie. I was in the grocery store last night and I was looking for I don't know, I was looking at the muffins, and I always look for like the latest possible expiry date, right? Because whatever. And I'm looking at it and it says February 9th. And I'm like, are they off their rocker? It's January 9th. Like there's no, what the are in these muffins that they are good for 4 weeks. There is no way in hell. And then I went to the bread section and it was like February 15th. I was like, what the is going on? And then I realized it was indeed February. So genuinely no idea.
I wanted to say, all of your chitter chatter about how when you get an order that when somebody buys something from your business, I've been known to do cartwheels, no matter where I am.
Like literally cartwheels.
Oh yeah. I used to be a cheerleader. Anyway, I just love that. Like just knowing that somebody is like thinking about you on like a random Thursday night, and they're like, you know what? I'm gonna buy something from Vail Family Farm. It blows my mind every time.
Yeah, this week I've had a few, and it's like I've barely posted anything about like on my farm store account, and it's like I didn't just like I don't have a paid ad somewhere. Like I didn't just like reel you in from some paid marketing. Right. Like you literally have been thinking about this, or you stumbled upon me. And like the best part of the orders I got this week are like they were merch orders. Like they were like, you know, like a sweater, and it was stuff with my name on it. So it's just crazy. It's so crazy. And yeah, like metaphorically, I will do cartwheels, but like I'm 32, and I think if I did a cartwheel, I would have a spinal injury. Like I'm not joking. How would I feed my cows, you guys? There would be no Isambard Acres if I did a cartwheel. So I have like heart cartwheels, and like I want to cry. And like today I was filming some content and I got an email and I literally went, like, oh my God, it's so nice. And I'll never ever understand why people buy my shit. And that sounds crazy, but I just don't get it.
It's that entrepreneur, it's that self-doubt, and it sneaks up, but then somebody will come and buy something from you. And it's just like, wow. So then you know you're on the right track.
It's beautiful. So I think the moral of the story is the internet is wackadoodle, but there are beautiful components to it. One of which has, I'm going to just keep making flower reference. One of which has seeded and germinated and rooted and bloomed our friendship. One day maybe we'll meet in person, but I feel like that might just be too much for the world. Like I feel like
it would burn down.
The universe would explode.
When I come to Canada, I have a list, and you're number 1.
Mad respect. Is Jillian Harris number 2? Because she's in Kelowna, so that's like there's a flight difference there.
I'm going to say she's like number 4. Canadians are my jam, dude. I don't know why, but I have like close-knit relationships with my Canadian gals.
Because we're like awesome. We're Canadian. No offense.
I could not agree more.
Okay, well, I feel like we covered a lot. I don't even know, much like I don't know what day it is, I don't even know what we talked about, but I loved it because it just felt very us and very organic, and just a convo that I just happened to be recording on both audio and also video and we'll be sharing with said internet. But it was just like a real treat to have you. And thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me and have a little brewski, because I know that on top of your flower farm, you also have I don't like how I said that. I didn't mean a real job. I mean like one in which you answer to the man. Okay, that's what I meant. Like one that you can't make your own rules to. So I know your plate is very full with many things, but I appreciate you being a part of the first season of my podcast. And I know you're my hype girl, so happy to have you here.
Thank you so much.
You're the best. Can't wait to see what you do next.
Same.
Thanks for listening to the Chore Beer Chats podcast. You can find more information related to this episode at the show notes on our website, isabardacres.com/chorebeerchats. And don't forget to subscribe to the Chore Beer Chats podcast on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube.